morning, councillors, CEO, directors, and welcome to our council meeting today. The land on which we're privileged to gather for our council meeting, of course, has been, for the last 2,000 generations or more, under the traditional custodianship of the Iwi people. As part of one of the oldest living cultures on the planet, we recognise their Indigenous elders past and present and acknowledge their contribution to our community ongoing. As you know, the social distancing restrictions are still in force, and so therefore we are still unable to have members of the public with us today at our council meeting. But we welcome our online viewers through our YouTube channel and our Facebook channel. So, councillors, I declare the meeting open, and we'd like to welcome Father Stephen Hanley to deliver our opening prayer. Father Stephen, it's good to see you.
Mayor, councillors, it's good to be with you. So let's pray. Loving and gracious God, you are indeed the giver of all good gifts. Our Mackay Regional Council come together on this day to seek your wisdom, guidance, courage, strength. They gather in difficult times, in challenging times, COVID-19 times, that demand a serious response, yet true creativity that sees life being lived differently, yet well, because of their leadership. Be with them in their deliberations and help them to be wise in the decisions they make for the good of all who have placed their trust and confidence in them. Give the council insight to continue to lead with integrity, that their decisions may reflect what is right, what is good. Help them to make decisions that continue to be for the good of all people. Finally, dear God, grant them the wisdom to always seek your will in all that they do and in all that they say, knowing and being reassured that many of our community hold them to our hearts with respect, with gratitude, with confidence, with the knowledge that their voice and leadership represent us as together we build our community to the best it can be. All glory be to you, loving God, now and forevermore. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Father Stephen. Councillors, nobody absent on council business. We have two apologies today. Councillor Pauline Townsend is an apology for today's meeting. Councillor Lawrence Bonaventura is an apology for today's meeting. And we move that, can you just put Councillor Pauline Townsend, she has an apology too?
Yeah, it's both there.
Oh, they're both there? All right, okay. I just glanced too far away. Thank you. But somebody move that we accept the apologies. Councillor Mann, seconded by Councillor Linkett. Those in favour? Any against? It's carried, thank you. Right, and that's for Councillor Bonaventura, that was moved, and we can move now for Councillor Townsend. Councillor Mann moves, seconded by Councillor May. Those in favour? Any against? It's carried, thank you. We do have condolence with the council's blessing. We'll offer our condolences to Daphne Neal, who is Councillor Townsend's mother-in-law, and of course Trevor's mother. And so, are there any other condolences? No other condolences? Let's move on. Conflicts of interest? Any conflicts of interest to declare today? Nobody? Thank you. The confirmation of the minutes of the ordinary meeting, they were circulated. That's the meeting of the 24th of June. Somebody moved their adoption. Councillor Green moves. Councillor Mann seconds. Those in favour? Any against? The motion's carried. The confirmation of the minutes of the special budget meeting of the 24th of June. Circulated once again. Councillor Mann moves. Councillor Hassan seconds. Those in favour? Any against? Motion's carried. There was no advice of business arising out of those previous minutes. And if there's none now, I'll move on. There's no mayoral minutes. There's no consideration of committee reports, so let's move on to the correspondence and officers' reports. 11.1.1, the Office of the Mayor and CEO monthly review. And CEO, I've got to say that the précis that you've written is an excellent factual account of the journey so far in 2020. So thank you very much. CEO.
Thank you, Worship. Good morning, councillors. I won't go into too much. Obviously, we've all been involved in what has been, I think, a very variable year. We've had cyclones and that before, but I don't think we could have envisaged. And I think in the grapevine report that went out today, my message to the staff was up until about mid-March, everything was going swimmingly, and then we've had a pandemic. I would like to say, though, that the way the organisation from the councillors all the way down to the staff, the way it's been handled, in hindsight, we could have done some things better. I know from an operational side, I'm sure we could have, but the way we've handled the wellbeing of our staff, kept all our critical services going during this difficult time, the way we're running, it's a credit to all the staff in the organisation. No one would be surprised that I want to talk about safety. So our safety performance for the year, we'll give you the final quarterly report at the next meeting. Our performance with 6 lost time injuries is 6 too many. Everyone will know that's the case. I think we've hit a stable position in safety in the organisation for the last couple of years of where we are. Probably the most disappointing thing for the last 12 months is I'm very happy with the reporting, the culture in the organisation, but there's been a couple of incidents that have basically contributed to significant lost time that we're working through. Most of those, very difficult to see what we could have done differently. It's just working through the risk with our staff. And that'll continue to be a focus of this council. We're working through, the end of financial year's come and gone, but as everybody knows, it takes a couple of weeks to sort out the details. Feverishly, things are getting sorted out behind the scenes, so probably another week or two, Your Worship, and we'll have a better idea of what that result is. It's continuing to be around about where we thought, a small deficit. We're considering the last 3 months of the year would be a reasonable result, I believe. Thank you to the councillors for what was a very different budget process for the 2021, and that's been now all put through and we're off and running, and I'll let the Director, Community Lifestyle, talk about the new COVID Special Support Grants Program and how that's going. It's going very, very well. It's a credit to the staff, the process they've set in place. And again, the Capital Director will talk about, we've had about $20 million of projects come online in the last couple of weeks that have been very exciting, well received by the community, and with all our signature projects and what we've got to do going forward, there's more exciting things to come from Council. And in my report, I would dare say that most of the KPIs we set ourselves have been met, but there is a sum that we did not achieve, and we'll come back to you with the operational plan performance for the year in the next month, so we can have a chat about our performance as overall.
Thank you, CEO. Questions? No questions for the CEO?
No.
You want to move?
Please.
Councillor May moves, seconded by Councillor Green. Councillor May.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Your Worship. I think it's really fitting today, given it's the end of June report that we're adopting today, to draw a few highlights out. And I think the PDA is a journey that we've been on for a number of years, and it's really great to get to that point now where we've gone out for expressions of interest with the PDA, and it's been a great, I suppose, learning along the way. The staff have done a marvellous job. Our external advisors have helped us enormously to get to this point, and I'm really looking forward to what might be coming of the PDA as far as the expressions of interest go. The Resource Centre of Excellence is just about to be handed over, if not it already has been, and we had the privilege of going out there and having a bit of a look a few weeks ago, and it's just amazing that we have that facility in our area. So to the CEO and all of the staff that have worked on that, they've done a great job. The other thing that I think is really important, not such a fancy thing, but the delivery of our Works for Queensland program has been outstanding over a number of years, but more in particular this year. We have been able to deliver on time each and every year our Works for Queensland, and when the Minister was here just the other day, he actually commented on how efficient the Mackay Regional Council is in making sure that we meet all of those milestones. The other thing that is really, really important is that you'll see in the report that all of our shovel-ready projects have been uploaded and updated for the forthcoming year, and we've got some great projects in there like the Northern Beaches Hub, the mountain biking, the new animal facility, and of course the sort of a re-look at the Serena CBD, just to mention a few. The other things that are of importance, I think, is the delivery of the budget. That was a great piece of work that was done by the CEO and the managers and the directors to be able to bring forward that budget. Coping with the pandemic, I think in amongst all of that, and still being able to deliver on time and a really good result. So to the CEO and his team, they've done a fantastic job.
Thank you very much, Councillor May. Speaker against? Any other speakers? I'll put the motion then. Those in favour? Any against? The motion's carried. Thank you. 11.2.1 is the Capital Works Monthly Review for the month of June. Director Jim Carlos. Where is he? Over here.
Good morning, Mayor and Councillors. This month's, or June, Capital Works report shows a number of projects completed during June. What you don't see there on the list is, as mentioned earlier by the CEO and the Deputy Mayor, Queen's Park, which we opened mid-last week, so about the 1st of July. Resources Centre of Excellence, as we heard. Harbour Road and Ronsell Drive, so the new footpath link linking North Mackay out to the harbour. And of course the Blue Water Lagoon kiosk, which is being handed over as we speak, and Mackay Tourism will move into that facility very soon. So very exciting to see those projects open, and I just want to take the time to thank all of the teams that are involved in all of those projects. It has been a big push and a lot of work, and we do put a lot of pressure on those teams to get these projects done for the community, and particularly at the moment for school holidays. So I thank them for that. A few minor incidents in terms of safety during June, but they are, again, only minor. It's not good to see minor vehicle incidents, and we are working on different ways to mitigate some of those risks with at-fault vehicle incidents, but good to see that there's no LTIs. The year-to-date for the 19-20 capital year is just gone over $100 million in spend, but we still have the final period to work out the numbers. Still a little bit of underspend in that. Some of it is savings, and what we do see on some of the projects that have underspent, showing on the report on page 7, is that we do still have quite a few COVID-related delays on equipment coming, particularly from overseas, and also with our plant and equipment, we just have some uncertainty around advice we're getting from our suppliers, so that's causing some of those bigger numbers on larger projects. And the other thing I suppose to highlight is the contracts that we've signed up again during the month of June. The new Blue Water Lagoon play equipment. It's a DNC project to put in new water play equipment into the Blue Lagoon, and also Roebuck Civil for the new pump station renewal. So,
thank you, Director. It's been a mammoth year. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Huge number of projects delivered over this last year, and many of them now just coming to fruition. Are there questions for the Director? No questions for the Director? You've got off lightly. Well done. No, congratulations. And to you and your team, we really do appreciate the work that you put in the last 12 months since the establishment of the Directorate. It's been well worthwhile. Thank you. Right, let's move on, Councillors. Oh, we better move it and adopt it then. Right, getting ahead of ourselves. Was there somebody put a time on this meeting? Right, okay.
I'm on 10:31.
10:31, okay. Thank you very much. Councillor Mann moves, seconded by Councillor Hassan. Councillor Mann.
Thank you, Worship. Look, I too would like to thank the Director and the whole department. They've delivered an enormous amount of work this month, and then, in June, and then all the stuff ticking along in the background, so I think they really are to be commended. Again, I would like to mention workplace health and safety. This is a high-risk area. This is an area dealing with a lot of contractors, not just staff, so to have minimal incidents is commendable. I'd like to mention the year-to-date spend too, because as far as I'm concerned, it's still impressive. Even though we're under budget, it's still very impressive what's been achieved. Key contracts to the value of nearly $1.8 million were approved, and forward planning is 90% complete for the preparation of 2021 and 21-22 design. That's impressive in itself as well, and that's something that I don't think we've had as much focus on before, so that's really well done. In my opinion, the department keeps going from strength to strength in refining and improving processes, and this will result in the actual spend against forecast in the future becoming very closely aligned, and I think that is to be commended.
Thank you very much, Councillor Mann. Speaker against? Any other speakers? No. Councillor Green, speaking for.
Furthering on from the congratulations that you've delivered, I too would like to thank the Capital Works team and the contractors on behalf of the families in our region for the forethought and then the work required to complete the works on Northview Park at Glenella and Queen's Park revitalisation to a stage that they were both able to be opened at the beginning of the school holidays. The feedback from the community has been extraordinarily positive. Both parks have been incredibly well utilised over the last week and a half, including by myself and my kids. They're fantastic. This report also details a number of other current projects that will improve the livability and the recreational opportunities in our community, such as the refurbishment of the Blue Water Lagoon, the Romsell Drive and Harbour Road shared footpath, and the playground upgrades at Serena Beach and Urralee. So small and large projects across the board. I think it's timely that to note that if the community would like to know more about upcoming and current projects, I encourage them to jump online and register on the Connecting Mackay website. This website keeps you informed, it keeps you updated about current key projects occurring in the region, and it will also ask for your input on projects. For example, right now the community engagement team is asking for your feedback on how we can improve caravan and camping sites in the Mackay region. And that website is connectingmackay.com.au. Thank you.
Thank you. Well done, Councillor Green. Are there other speakers? No other speakers. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Any against? The motion's carried. 11.3.1, the Community and Client Services Monthly Review for June. Director Hayes.
Thank you, Your Worship. So June was a busy and productive month across the Community and Client Services Directorate. So we've been able to welcome customers back to Artspace Mackay and to all of our libraries across the region this month to very positive customer feedback. And this has included the quite extensive refurbishment that's taken place at Gordon White Library. Our last facility to reopen to the public is the MECC, this beautiful facility, and staff have been working very hard throughout June to ensure that we comply with all requirements that will allow us to safely reopen this facility shortly. This has been an enormous amount of work and a great display of a collaborative effort by the MECC team. We also continue to assist our sporting community with their COVID-safe plans. By the end of June, our sport and rec officers had reviewed more than 70 return-to-play plans from local sporting organisations, and that's allowing us to provide advice and guidance to clubs on safely resuming their activities. Further supporting community organisations, our community program staff have prepared guidelines, application and approval processes for the COVID-19 Recovery Assistance Grant, which provides financial support to our not-for-profit sector impacted by the pandemic. Now, this grant was only officially announced on 24 June, and we had already seen applications coming in by the end of the month. As a quick update, as of end of Tuesday, we'd already approved $156,000 to over 40 local organisations in our region, which is a good outcome. In addition to working with our shared services colleagues to issue over 15,000 licence and registration renewal notices in June, our Health and Regulatory Services team have also been working behind the scenes to deliver a great improvement to anyone who purchases monthly parking permits. Now, these can now be purchased online via PayStay, can commence immediately and no longer require a physical ticket to be displayed. Now, the last note that I would like to make is that unfortunately we did have one of our team members injured in a lost time injury throughout the month of June. They received a concussion when they had hit their head on something within our library area. And I did just want to note for everyone that they have made a full recovery and are doing well. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. I've got to say, I thought this was an excellent report, and congratulations to you and your team, especially on the COVID plans that you've been reviewing.
Thank you.
And Sport and Rec, 73 plans to date. Great work getting them out the door as fast as possible. Are there questions for the Director? Councillor Jones.
Thank you, Your Worship. I was pleased to see that we got the state library grant, and in particular wanted to know about the extra resources that are going to be at the Gordon White Library to do with the All Abilities program. Are they going to just stay at Gordon White, or will they be moved around to other libraries?
Director.
Thank you, Your Worship. At the moment, we will be introducing them at Gordon White Library only as a trial to see how they go, how they're received. It will allow us to learn some lessons around the provision of appropriate materials as well into this area of our community. And then once we've taken all of that on board, we'll see what scope we have then to provide it more broadly across other library services.
Thank you.
Okay, further questions? No further questions? Thank you very much, Director. Well done. Would somebody like to move the adoption of the report? Councillor Jones moves. Councillor Mann seconds. Councillor Jones.
Thank you, Worship. Look, in speaking to this motion, I wanted to really just highlight also the Connecting Mackay page. I know that there's quite a few members of the community that are unaware of this page, and can only encourage our community to get on and register. Some of the things that our community are able to see on that page are the opportunity to have their say on projects such as park upgrades and culverts, bridges upgrades, intersection upgrades, master plans and drainage. And I too, particularly at the moment, think it's very important and a topic dear to my heart, camping, as Councillor Green has mentioned, that the strategy, you know, we're seeking feedback around that, and we have this, you know, on there for people to be able to give their feedback so we can construct the strategy around that. Unfortunately, it will be finished on July the 15th, and it's not that far away. So I'm just, while we have live stream, wanting to really reach out to the community and express to them that the 15th of July is the cut-off, and if they want to have a say about this, they really need to get in and do it.
Thank you. Councillor Jones, Speaker against. Any other speakers? Councillor Bella speaking for.
I'd like to highlight the pest management side of things here. Once again, it's great to see that the hours we're spending on pest management have increased since last year. I'd like to highlight a couple of things. We've got crazy ants just up the road in Whitsundays. Only today they've announced the possible closure of Burley Hill due to fire ant incursions. The fire ant program is an absolute debacle. And this just highlights how important it is to us. I notified the department of a fox killed on Bakers Creek Bridge last week. There's foxes at all of our beaches, including Louisa Beach, down at Rocky Dam Creek. These have a massive impact on our native wildlife. While cats will take birds, foxes are notorious eggers, will take eggs from nests and will actually take nesting birds. We're currently looking down the barrel of $2 million to remove hyacinth from the lagoon. So many people sort of look at you know, weeds as being something that's just there, but it can have a very real financial and social and ecological impact. It's something that I believe in the past has been neglected. When I say weeds, I mean both plant and animal. And the old adage of 1 year's seeding means 10 years weeding is very, very true. So once again, congratulations to the department, but we should also be looking at whatever possible opportunities we have to secure funding for further biosecurity works, and to be honest, the identification of, as I stated earlier, the fire ant issue is huge. It's not that far away, and it's going to come at some point. The sooner we get on top of it, the better.
Thank you very much, Councillor Bella. Are there any other speakers? Councillor May speaking for.
Yes, thank you. Just wanted a couple of points, Your Worship, in regards to the return to play and the work that our officers do in this space. When you have people of the community contacting me to say how fantastic our officers have been in assisting sporting organisations get their back to play plans in place, and it's not really our responsibility, but our officers have done an extraordinary job. We heard 73 plans they've been involved in there across the Mackay region. So I just really wanted to highlight that they are doing a fantastic job. And I think also across the board in this department, we've seen a lot of our community programs having to adapt to our restricted life through the COVID-19 pandemic, and this particular department has really adapted well, right from community programs through to art space, the libraries. Everybody has really been very innovative in how they've been able to deliver and continue to deliver the council services. So well done.
Thank you very much, Councillor May. Any other speakers? I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Any against? The motion's carried. Move on. 3.2 is the LDMG minutes for the 22nd of June. Fairly well straightforward. I guess the only thing to note out of those minutes is the morphing of our response groups into the recovery group. And by adopting this today, that's what will happen. Are there any questions? Would somebody like to move the report's adoption? Councillor Englert, Councillor May seconds. Councillor Englert.
You said it all.
Okay, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Any against? The motion's carried. 11.4.1. This is a development services facilitating development application of the policy for a redevelopment at 18 East Gordon Street. The applicants ask for 75% under the policy, 56,000, which the recommendation is quite clear. It is a straight application of the policy. Are there any questions? No questions. Somebody like to move the adoption of this report? Councillor Seymour moves. Councillor Mann seconds. Councillor Seymour.
Yeah, it's good to see councillors supporting these local contracts like this, because in the pandemic it is pretty hard for for developers and that. So with this support, I encourage all the developers to get on board, open up and let the work flow on, because I know it is hard out there at present. So with council support, they will more than should happen.
Thank you very much, Councillor Seymour. Speaker against? Any other speakers? I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Any against? The motion's carried. 11.5.1, the adoption of council policies. We had no feedback. This has been circulated for a while. There's been no feedback. Are there any questions? This is once again fairly well straightforward for these two policies. Number 74, which is the SunSmart policy. Number 64, the acquisition of land for environmental purposes. No questions? Would somebody like to move the adoption then? Councillor Mann moves. Councillor Green seconds. Councillor Mann. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Any against? The motion's carried. 11.5.2 then is the July 2020 budget review. I'll ask the CEO to speak to this. CEO.
Thank you, Your Worship. Very, very quickly, we're not in the habit of usually doing the reforecast 2 weeks after we do a budget, councillors, so I apologise for that. We did take you through this one. This is a tender that went out for an upgrade of the Blue Wall Lagoon child area. From that briefing, it was agreed that we're happy to go for the higher standard option. So to do that, I need a budget to do that. So that's what we're doing today.
Any questions? Somebody like to move the adoption of the report? Councillor Hassan moves. Councillor Mann seconds. Councillor Hassan. Okay, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Any against? You're against? Councillor Jones has recorded a vote against. The motion's carried. There's no further reports to review. 12.1 is the receipt of a petition. It's a request to remove or replace trees and species of the council car park. This is fairly well straightforward. What we are asked to be doing here is just to receive this with the officer's recommendation to be referred to the CEO for a report to be prepared to come back to council. Questions? Somebody like to move the adoption? Councillor Mann moves. Councillor Englert seconds. Councillor Mann. Okay, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Any against? The motion's carried. Thank you. Tenders. 13.1 is the Resource Recovery Facility Services tender. CEO, would you like to speak to this?
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. Just very quickly, it's a pretty self-explanatory document, hopefully. Very, very important part of our community is the Resource Recovery Centre. Makes up our whole waste management process. So this one's taken a while, as you've noticed, it's come back. We've got 2 tenders. Great to see that basically there's 2 sort of local firms. It's pretty clear who we're recommending. We did have a look at a couple of options around ours, but we're recommending that we stick to what we've been doing, which we haven't had too many adverse comments around that, Mayor. So, yeah, we're just looking for endorsement to put this very important tender to bed.
Questions? No questions. The recommendation is quite clear, based on option A, to go to Incredible Limited, commencing on the 1st of August 2020 for a 3-year contract, with the option of a 2x1 extension. Somebody like to move? Councillor Green moves. Councillor May seconds. Councillor Green?
No, thank you.
I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Any against? The motion's carried. There's no notified motions. There's no public participation. Of course, late business. Councillor Bella.
Very short and sharp. Once again, I'd just like to highlight the value of the MyH2O scheme. We went through a lot of hullabaloo about water bills and things like that, but I just received a notification this morning for my 2 daughters get the notification sent to me. One of those properties has shown an uptick in water usage in the last month, And just to show how sensitive it is, early in the month, I had another grandchild, so the increased washing for one extra member of the household has showed up on our MyH2O. So to all those that had queries and quibbles and qualms about our water billing, once again I would suggest that when something is as sensitive as that, they probably should think about joining MyH2O.
Thank you very much, Councillor Bella. Any other late business? Councillor Jones.
Thank you, Worship. Just on Councillor Bella's comments, just to give you an update on my H2O and the little water leak that I discovered as a result of getting the text. I got my report through only a couple of days ago, and my bill for the month increased by $6.80. So that's what it cost me for that 12 or 24-hour period for me to have a water leak. If I hadn't got the actual text, then 6 months down the track, if that had been something unnoticed, it certainly would be a lot more than $6.80. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Jones. Any other late business from any councillors? No other late business? There's no confidential reports today, councillors, so thank you very much. I declare the meeting closed.
Great result, Mayor. 10:31. That was my bet, and it's 10:31. Well done. I'll share the prize. No, 10:31, Pam. Put it down. The executive officer was trying to...